diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and we are the scouting staff for the Hula Bowl. This interview is sponsored by Car Black Orlando, Orlando's premier Chevy, Buick, and GMC dealership. They offer an extensive inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles. Stop by today just off of East Colonial Drive. Today I have with me Benny Sapp III. He is a safety out of Northern Iowa. Nice to have you on, sir.
I appreciate it, Jimmy, for having me, man. Thank you.
So, I know a little bit of your story, man. I mean, I know your dad played in the league for a little bit, and you've been pretty successful there at UNI. UNI in itself, obviously a great institution, putting draft picks, getting some draft picks, putting some guys into the NFL here lately. But why don't you go ahead and kind of set the stage, man? Tell me where you're from, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
All right, so I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I have 5 beautiful, siblings and a mother and, father. And I'm really a family-oriented guy, you can say. And I'm most likely, I feel like I overcame a lot of stuff, adversity, and, have a lot of resilience. And it's just, an honor to be on this show. And I just, just can't wait to, keep going and keep striving on, my next task for the Hula Bowl next week.
Awesome. So yeah, like you said, we invite you to the Hula Bowl. How far away is Fort Lauderdale to Orlando, man? That's not too bad of a trip, is it?
That's about like 3 hours, like 3 hours. Yeah, 3.
Yeah, so I mean, dude, you'll be able to come, bring all your family there. Obviously, that's going to be on January 14th, so that's going to come up, very soon.
Okay.
So you started your journey actually at Minnesota, and then eventually worked your way to UNI. Can you kind of walk me through that journey if you don't mind?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So my junior year of high school, I transferred to not transferred, but I moved to Minnesota. So like my junior and senior year of high school, I was in Minnesota at the time, and I eventually committed to the University of Minnesota. And it's kind of weird, but like as soon as I got on campus, like the week before campus, my family had moved back to Florida. So like it was like kind of like a bummer, but I mean the coaches and everything were cool. So I was fine with staying, and then on top of the process with like the teammates that I came in with, we already had that bond, so everything was all good. So I was there from 2018 to 2020, right before COVID. Everything was going pretty good, and then COVID hit, and then we had to go back home, and I feel like that was like the biggest like stepping stone, like for me, because me and my father, we couldn't really do anything as much, so we made a gym in the garage, just doing a lot of things like running in the backyard, doing breaks and stuff like that, watching YouTube, watching film, as much things that we can. So when I came back up, after COVID, I'll be ready. And I felt like I was ready. I feel like I had a good camp. My teammates definitely, pushed me. I am grateful for them because without them, those players, especially at Minnesota, I wouldn't be the player who I am today, just as off of just the bond that we had and the relationship that we had. And they knew my situation and they made me feel like I was starting. They never made me feel like I was like a guy, in the too deep, which is nothing wrong with that. It just, everybody goes to college to play, to play ball.
Sure.
So I sat there and, played it, I did special teams and everything like that. And, I gave myself a, like a real, good, chance with hey, Granny. Yeah, I got him. I got fat. Yeah, I got him. Nah, but yeah, so with special teams and stuff like that, I had to take it, as serious because, as a freshman, you don't really expect to, play special teams. You want to play defense and all that stuff. So the first 2 years actually was a kind of mature, moment for me, to realize how important special team is. And, playing special teams, helped me define what type of player I am. And I feel like I'm a very aggressive player. And kickoff was like my favorite because, you get to, hit people and stuff like that and, get around the wedges and all that stuff and read the, like the type of, zones that they're trying to do with the blocking schemes and all that. And honestly, man, I just kept going. And then it was just a point of time where I was just like, you know what? I can't keep, putting myself in this position if I want to make it, far in NFL or even be in an interview like this. So I had to honestly, hit the transfer portal. It wasn't because of I hated the coaches or the coaches didn't like me or the players made me feel uncomfortable or anything like that. It was honestly just a business decision where I had to be, selfish right there in that moment to better help myself and my family. So when I went to Northern Iowa, it was probably the best move I ever made in my life. I honestly didn't know what I was doing, like, because I got there in December, and we was working out in January because, mind you, this is like COVID year type of thing. So we had the spring and February. That's when we was supposed to play in the FCS. We were supposed to play in the spring. So I got there in December. Then I had COVID for 2 weeks in January, and mind you, the game is in February. So like I'm kind of like shaking up. I'm like I'm probably not gonna play. Like I'm like oh God, But I just kept my faith in God and just let Him take the course. And during that time I was quarantined. My DC and some of my teammates honestly helped me out learn the playbook as fast as I could. To be able to play. And so I had a whiteboard in there in my room, and I had a marker and just drawing up formations until I felt comfortable enough to go. When I did get out of quarantine, I didn't miss a beat. So that's a credit to my teammates and my coaches really helping me out, not seeing me as a threat but as a brother and a family member to help me out, to get me on the process. And so after that I ended up, having a pretty solid year. And then in 2021 fall was probably like my biggest like year, like on the, like on the scene type of thing. Like I played a full 12 games, like a full season, like for the first time ever in college. And it was probably the best experience I ever had, just due off of not being able to play like on defense for the first couple years in college, and just seeing like all the little things that I feel like you have to play to know sometimes, And it was a real blessing to be able to do that. And then this past year, I ended up having another, good year, and now I'm here. So
Right. Well, obviously, yeah, I mean, you had a lot of great success at UNI. I mean, yeah, I mean, at Minnesota, I mean, great institution, nothing bad about those guys. I mean, but
great
you don't want to be stuck on special teams forever. So like,
yeah.
it's great that you had that experience, but I mean, hey, there's some great talent there. I mean, and there's opportunities opening up at UNI, and you really took advantage of it.
No, most definitely.
Being named all conference, being named an All-American, and putting yourself on the map, man, putting yourself on the radar of NFL scouts. Then of course, bro, we obviously were on top of you from the beginning.
I was.
We wanted to make sure that you were, coming to the Hula Bowl. So gave you as much love as we possibly could out the gate. So but yeah, I do appreciate you accepting that invite, and people will be able to see you once again doing that. Do want to kind of talk about a couple other things with you. I mean, we started out, obviously, I introduced you as Benny Sapp the third because your pops actually played in the NFL. Talk to me a little bit about his impact on you as a person and player. I mean, if there's maybe like this idea of a legacy, or I don't know, a shadow or something, like, I don't know how you feel about it, but go ahead and elaborate just a little bit on that for me.
Yeah. So, my father, man, just honestly just, being a 22-year-old, man now, and, knowing everything about my family as an adult, and just, hearing stories about, the stories that my dad had when he was a child. Obviously his father is right here, Benny Sapp Sr. He passed away when my dad was 3. And my dad, kind of had a rough times, growing up, and in Fort Lauderdale, and for Florida is pretty, it's really playing. You do sports, or you go on the streets. And my dad, thank God, he didn't follow everybody way, his friends, and he stuck to football, and just seeing him overcome a lot of things like being undrafted, which is not, a bad thing. Just getting a chance in the NFL is a blessing. But just seeing him not being able to, just him telling me he's not able to practice the first 2 days of camp, of rookie camp and everything at the Chiefs because they had too many lockers. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody get hurt, then they throw him in there, and then he clamps up the they third round pick at the time. And Dick Vermeil, asked my dad, who are you? My dad told him his name, and he said he's on a one-way flight. He's not going home. And that's what my dad did. He didn't go home. And just off of that story alone, just pushes me and gives me a drive. And just as far as the intelligence, like the IQ, like my dad is probably one of the smartest people that I ever talked to about hands-on, face-to-face with football in my life, because just him being up there actually with me my last year for my senior season, he was basically playing like free safety with me in practice. You know what I'm saying? And he played corner. He never played safety before. So like it was kind of like his first time seeing the eyes of how I see it, from the safety part, because everything that he told me, I use from, a corner tactic, but just putting it at a safety position, as far as like reading plays, like run pass keys and reading the quarterback and all that stuff. So just my dad, man, it's a real blessing, just to have a person like that, because I know a lot of people are not, like fortunate to have any NFL figure in their life. So having him as my dad, man, it's really truly blessing, because a lot of people don't get a chance to have that.
Yeah, and of course, kind of like you were saying before, just kind of about his own character and how that
Yeah,
has been, a big factor, for you because, you get this guy who's undersized, gets undrafted, and still
yeah,
plays several years in the league.
yeah, eight,
And so like, obviously some of that's rubbed off on you. I mean, whether it
yeah,
be his, talent or and just kind of overall perseverance
yeah,
and
definitely.
getting you to where you're at right now, man, where you are yourself a legitimate, NFL prospect. So, let's talk about you and your team there for UNI, since that's where you truly made
Yeah.
your name. So, talk to me about that UNI defense, man. There's a lot of great
Man,
names on that defense, but tell me about that defense as a whole and kind of how you've been a part of that over the past few years.
man. So, when I went to UNI, um, I still was on special teams this year, but the first couple games in the spring, I was really heavily on special teams as well. And shout out to my coach, from Minnesota, coach Rob Wenger. He taught me so much, playing special teams, and I realized and seeing that a lot of boys on the team didn't really, understand like the situationals. Like, for example, it was a punt, you know, and one of my teammates had hurry up and picked up the ball, like not letting none of the seconds off the clock run when you're up supposedly, you let the clock roll out until the ref blows the whistle. You know what I'm saying? So just being able to just see stuff like that and knowing that I know something that I could help and change this person's life as far as like IQ, I'm all in for it. So when I first got there on defense, the D line was incredible. Jared Brinkman, B Wells, Bronte Wells, Christian Boyd, Devin Rice. It's just a whole bunch of guys, first off in the front end. I built a good relationship with those guys because, I came to the conclusion, with them as well. Like, hey, they be telling me, hey, hold the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, get home. So at the same time, we got the same goal, but it's just a different way to get to it. So like once we understood that as a whole, and especially with the linebackers, because we have to be in the same zones, nearly of the time, or the safety has to, replace like one of the linebackers, when they're blitzing and stuff. So just having like that connection out there on the field alone was just crazy. But off the field, man, my old apartments up there in Cedar Falls, DeMarcus Governor, Edward Dillon, Devon Brecky, man, like those guys for real, they were like, my DBs, those the DBs, and we really, took the DB role, for the team, real serious. We ended up me, my best friend Edwin Dearman and my best friend DeMarcus Governor, we all combined for like 9 picks this year. And we all like, manifested that, for like years to come, because it was actually like their first time, being able to play on defense this year. So it was like the best way you probably honestly, can go out, just going out with your friends, man. And all I can say is for sure that UNI is a kick-ass football team. We definitely blue collar, shut mouth. We don't really talk that much. We go to work, and we're gonna see on Saturday how we come. And that's really the whole defense, offense, special team, kicker, all American, cook. And it's just really like the whole team, man. Just really be locked in, and it all starts off with the like the weight room. Everybody in the weight room goes bonkers. Like I thought, at Minnesota, being at a Power 5 program, that going into an FCS program, that what I'm saying, it might be a little different. Nah, yeah, it is different. Like, but different in a great way, because I never been this strong, in my life before. I had PR'd, I think 375 on the bench, in the summer this past year. And that's all due to credit to my strength coach, Coach Jed, just helping me. And really, it's not even about the physical part of the game. It's really the like the mental, in a way. So like he does a lot of mental exercises that you basically got to battle throughout the game. And so once you get better with that, then the workouts start to get more easier and all that stuff. And so I really appreciate just the whole program, just humbling me down. First off, just looking at it as a FBS, because I admit, I was looking at it like that, until I actually got in that fire, and then I realized,
Sure.
like, what was I should have been came here if I knew what I knew now, So it's just a real blessing just to have all that going on for
Right.
UNI.
Well, I mean, like you said, I mean, people have this idea in their head about like
Yeah.
what, what small school is, but to be
Yeah.
quite honest with you, like UNI, dude, if you
Yeah.
go FCS, I mean, there's like a handful of them that you can guarantee they're going to put you
Yeah.
in a position to succeed.
Nah,
UNI's
facts.
got such a great coaching staff, strength
Yeah.
coaches, really putting guys like you in position to succeed. I mean,
Yes,
dude,
sir.
I remember watching some of these guys, post up some of that weight like on social media,
Yeah.
and saw you doing your thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, like this guy is like really, throwing up some massive weight, like you said,
Yeah.
about like 375 bench, and a lot of other, great accomplishments too in that
No,
weight
most
room
definitely.
too. But, buddy, let's talk about the field. Because I mean, yeah, you had a lot of great accomplishments in that weight room.
Yeah.
But I know you had some great moments out there on the field. Talk to me about a couple of those for you. That's just like maybe one of your best highlights or games. So tell me one of them.
All right. I can start off with my like one of my like like my moments I'm probably gonna cherish forever was probably my first career interception. I had got game 5 versus Missouri State, and it was third down, just off of my boy Bronte Wells just getting a sack. So it's like 3rd and 10, because it started off like 2nd and 3. They had a good run. Now it's like 3rd and 10, 7-yard lost sack. So I'm like the crowd, and I'm basically playing like a man quarters defense, like in the 3-by-1 shell, and they gave me a concept of like a basically a dagger type of look, like a reverse, not dagger, but drive. Basically, like the 3-man going dig, while the slot basically going underneath. So making a high low concept with me and the mic, and I ended up breaking on the dig, and I got my first interception. That was probably like my first moment, but my best moment I'll probably say is probably my last interception on senior day. Playing South Dakota State. Shout out to the Jackrabbits, making it to the championship this year. And it was fourth quarter, 28-21. Our offense, just had, made a mistake or whatever, which is fine. Everybody make mistakes. And so, as a team, we are like a brotherhood. So like once I seen the offense, go down a little bit, I told them like, I got them, just like how they come to me when we make a mistake or give up a touchdown. So like the first play we get back out there off of back on defense, they came out and empty, and we had made a check, but primarily the defense was a cover 3 cloud defense, so cover 3 to the field and then a cover 2 to the boundary. And the number 3, basically, ran to the hash to the boundary hash, basically trying to high low the wheel, because obviously they know that this is like what, game 10, game 11 in the season, so like they know like when the team going empty versus us, we run this call, and we know primarily what they run too when they getting empty. So it was just like a chess match, I guess. And the tight end ran like a 3 seam while I was playing the cover 3 cloud at free safety, and I read the quarterback the whole time, and I trusted my instincts, and I made a play, and caught the my last interception, I guess, in college football, as far as in season, so that was probably like my favorite interception, because just as off of, we needed it the most. It was 28-21. They going up trying to put up 2 touchdowns on us, and we ended up scoring off of that interception too. So it was just real good to see that. And probably my last one was last year, versus Southern Illinois University. I had it was cover 2, and I was watching film on the quarterback, and obviously the offense, the receivers as well. And when they get in the 2x2, I had seen them run a corner post on South Dakota State safety from last year, and they hit him with a corner post. And I know that my defense, on the team, in my role, that I play a lot of halves, we play a lot of cover 2. So like I'm looking at it like, oh, that was me right there. If I was in the game, that's what they would have did, because that's the free safety, So I ran back and told my my DC, and that's one thing I love about my old DC now, but he's a safety coach now at Kent State, Jeremiah Johnson. That man right there understood, like who I was as a person, as far as like football and like what I'm really good at. And once I told him that, he kept it. Obviously, he knew I wasn't scared to play cover 2 versus corner post, but like, he just kept me prepared for it, and I just kept watching it. I seen it, in the film room, seen it in the team room, got into practice, so I was just ready for it. And then it's coming to crunch time again. Offense makes a mistake. We got to go back out there on defense, to hold up, because now I believe it's 20-13. They're going in to score, passing the 50. And everybody know when everybody hit the 50, everybody going deep. And they got in the formation, the 2x2 formation, and we was in cover 2 for the about 8th time already. And they've been in 2x2 already, and I haven't seen anything, like I haven't felt any of the routes, come to me. And it was literally like in slow motion. Like it was like me watching film all over again. And the receiver stood there, did a corner post, and I intercepted the ball for my 4th pick last year. And we ended up, winning the game basically. So like just those type of moments, being able to like, not only, speak to, somebody and like give somebody advice or anything, but actually like showing it and backing it up. That's probably like the best thing, me personally, that I feel like you can do as far as a person, give back. So that right there alone was probably like one of my favorites for sure.
Well, definitely a lot of great moments. I mean, of you, really being utilized a lot out there on defense. I mean, of course, baiting the quarterback a little bit, just kind of like hiding, off to the side maybe a little bit, and then obviously jumping the ball and taking it. And when I look at you and I look at some of the things that you do bring to the table as a prospect, I think about things like, even from some of the things that you talked about before, your willingness to go out there and be a great special teams player.
Most definitely,
but also, understanding the game, having a good football
Yeah.
IQ, and then also just kind of showing some versatility. I mean, sometimes you're coming down and you are playing like that linebacker spot.
Yeah.
And just kind of, moving all over the field. I mean, would you
hmm
kind of concur, man? What do you feel is like the best thing you bring to the table as a prospect?
Honestly, and it might sound kind of like weird, but I feel like the best thing, honestly, that I can bring, is probably I won't say weird, but I'll probably say it's like two things, honestly. Me playing in the deep post, just honestly reading the quarterback and getting a good read on the quarterback, and seeing the personnel out there on the field, and matching up like, all right, who is, you know what I'm saying? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Honestly, like really just going all in into the game and just realizing like, all right, this dude got like 80 catches, so they probably gonna throw it to him for the ball. But for the Hula Bowl, everybody's good on good. So like it's honestly just like you really just showing your raw athleticism, man. I feel like I'm really good in the deep post range. I can cover really well, but it's something that I never showed before, and it's honestly my blitzing. And I realized that I was a good blitzer from Minnesota when I was 15 yards, deep in a boundary, playing boundary safety at the time, because Minnesota had me all over, and I was playing boundary safety at the time, and I found a clue to how to jump the snap on the like because of the play clock or whatever in practice. And I was just watching the play clock, and honestly watching the play clock go down, trickling down, I took off from the 15 because the quarterback thought I was playing a half, so he wasn't worrying about me, he wasn't looking at me no more. So when I took off, he tried to like replace the ball with the blitz because that's what the quarterback's supposed to do. He threw the ball, and I broke it up for 15 yards deep. So I honestly feel like it's unfortunate that I didn't get to show it, at the University of Minnesota. I mean, Northern Iowa. But hopefully at the Hula Bowl, maybe I can get a chance to, show that I can blitz, because as you like you said, with me coming downhill as well, I'm pretty sure you see it just off of just the way I make tackles. So I can only imagine if I can just get a clear shot on somebody. So honestly, I think my blitzing as well would be crazy.
Well, I mean, I will say, in an all-star setting like the Hula Bowl,
Yeah,
unfortunately, I don't know
yeah. I
that if
don't
that's
think.
going to
Yeah,
happen because
I
of
don't,
the general setup of an all-star event.
yeah,
Same
yeah,
thing with special teams, dude. They don't
yeah.
put too much emphasis on special teams in all-star
Most definitely.
events, but hey, I mean, you are going to be able to get that opportunity, with an NFL team. I mean, you're going to go
Yeah,
out there and do that for them. Like, once you get on their team,
yeah, yeah.
got to protect the players as much
No,
as we
most
can
definitely. Most
in our
definitely.
all-star
Yeah.
event. But
Most
um,
definitely.
hey, before we wrap up, man, a couple of other things. I do want to meet this Benny Sapp guy outside of football. So,
Yeah.
tell me something about you that maybe not everybody knows, something unique,
Mhm.
interesting, whether it be hobbies or something, man. Give us
Mhm.
one little tidbit about yourself to share.
Nah, yeah, man. Honestly, I'm really like just growing up as a kid, always like the outside type of kid, always outside. Mom got to call you in because you're playing basketball or tag outside. But right now, man, honestly, my hobbies, due to being in Iowa and stuff, there's really not much for you to do. The only thing you can do is, play walk ball, like the little walk ball thing outside, and go fishing, and hang out with your friends and just catch up on just life in general, relationships, family members, stuff like that. Just having a lot of small talk. And honestly, I love Madden. So any Madden users out there that like to play on Madden, hit me up. 'Cause, hey, I love Madden. That's really what honestly all I do for real. And shout out to Madden because it really do help you. Like, if you playing football and stuff, it can, help you far as like reading coverages and reading, passing formations, because when you're playing offense on Madden, you got to play quarterback, and you got to make like the certain reads to, complete the pass. And once you understand that, I feel like it can help a defensive minded person so much.
Hey man, people knock video games all the time, but when it
Yeah.
comes to like, learning the game. I do feel like, over the past several years, I mean, dude, man,
Yeah,
these Madden games are like intense
yeah,
and very realistic.
yes.
So
I agree. I agree.
it's not like it was when I was growing up, man. Like
Second ball.
you got a big ass playbook. I mean, with
Yes,
great graphics, and you get a chance to understand like really the whole thing.
yes.
So yeah, it's a big difference from what I grew up with for sure. So hey man, one last opportunity to close things down. I mean, you're gonna get a chance to sit down and do interviews with all 32 NFL teams at the Hula Bowl, and I'm sure that you're going to be doing things at your pro day, and then beyond up until draft day. But
Yes, sir.
I want to close this out with you talking directly to them scouts. I mean, tell them what you would bring to their program if they took a chance on you, maybe signed you,
Mhm.
drafted you, and brought
Yeah.
you in. So go ahead and close us out with that.
Nah, man, yeah. For whoever take a chance on me with signing or drafting or whatever the case may be, you're gonna get 100% out of me every day. It don't matter the position I play. Special teams, I'm a be there and give everything, 110%. You're gonna get a lot of energy, a lot of passion. I can, honestly forget the IQ point. Obviously, I know a lot. Obviously, being in the NFL, you got to know some type of thing. So honestly, I love to even be in the back seat and learning from greats and picking out their IQ because I mean you can't beat the NFL. NFL, that's the highest you can ever go, and I've never been there before yet. So that's why my pop's really important to me. But honestly, I'm just ready for any challenge that comes my way. It don't matter if I gotta wait. I'm all in for it, and I'm gonna get everything I got. That's it.
Awesome. Well, I mean, people will get a chance to see Benny Sapp the third at the Hula Bowl, January 14th, CBS Sports Network. Do wish you very best of luck in this process, because it can be a somewhat stressful, but
Nah, most definitely it could be.
enjoy it while you got it, man. Because I mean,
Yeah.
these are some special times, and you're gonna have a
Hmm.
lot of fun at the Hula Bowl, man. I just know that for sure. So. You take care now, all right?
So thank you.
Sure. Benny Sapp the third, safety out of UNI. Definitely check him out.